I'm going to tell you the simplest and what I believe is possibly the most profitable AI skill that you can learn in 2025. And it is not building end-to-end agents. It's not building workflows. It's not AI automation agency. It's none of those things. In fact, it's a skill that I believe serves anybody, even if you're starting out, all the way to if you have a big team. This is a meta skill that you or someone on your company should have that I believe is going to make it really, really helpful. Actually, it's kind of imperative, I believe, in order to thrive in the new AI landscape. So I want to break that down and show you real case studies of how to do this and give you a template, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not going to gatekeep exactly what this is. What I'm talking about is building custom AI bots. Okay. And some people may be like, what is a bot? I don't know what a bot is. I've heard the idea. I heard bots, make comments on Instagram or whatever else. So what is a bot? And I'll just actually show you an example because inside of our program, we build bots all the time. There's different platforms you can use. We like to use Poe. So this is an example of one of the bots that we have that will write VSLs, video sales letters. So I'll just show you a quick output. Okay, so what you'll see is this is one of our low ticket pages that we have. And I just popped a link in and said, write me a VSL based on this. And so now it's writing the VSL. These secrets have fueled dozens of the most successful marketing campaigns on the internet. And it just keeps going. It keeps going. And it'll write the whole VSL for me. Well structured, pretty solid here. But that's an example of what a bot looks like. And under the hood, essentially, it's just a series of prompts. Sometimes you have information database. You can adjust the temperature. There's a few variables that you can do. Long story short, a bot is just one way to host a prompt. Okay. Now, even though prompts may not seem that exciting, maybe that was exciting in like 2023, I'm going to show you why that's actually one of the most important skills for you to know how to do and how to put them into a bot, because it's a little bit different, right? A prompt is basically what makes the bot work. But what's special about a bot is it creates an interface for the user to interact with like a specified group of knowledge. So you can use this for lead magnets. You can use this for low ticket products. You can use this for fulfillment. People in our community doing everything like running agencies with this, cutting the cost of what they have. They use our bots or bots that they built for themselves. People selling assets that the bots then produce. We have people making bots and then selling those. So there's a lot of use cases for them. And what's cool is the only real barrier, like there's some technical barrier and some information barrier, but really it's like once you learn how to do it and go through the process, it's not that hard. The only main obstacle is just the time and the effort that goes into creating it, right? Which means that anyone, even if you don't have the most skills right away, there's kind of hacks and workarounds for that. But, just taking someone's existing knowledge base and building a tool that they can use inside of their team is a huge, huge help to a lot of people. And they just don't want to take the time to do it, even if they could do it. So if you're a beginner, it's actually a great skill to have. And then all the way with people who are running an agency, making multiple six figures every single month, using these processes to streamline what they're doing. It's not going to solve everything. It's not even the most sophisticated way that you can solve these problems, right? I do believe you should be looking into AI agents and everything else, but I'm going to show you, if you're not doing anything with AI, this is a very, very important skill for you to have. And it's probably even more important than most people think. So, one of the questions is why build bots at all? So for example, we do a survey of our community, which is Genesis, and pretty much every month we're asking people these real questions. So on average, people save about 8.5 hours per week. Money, this is what they were able to get within the first month, being able to land clients, fulfill client work faster, land new clients, fulfill customers, operations, sell bot building services, and then also it's important for building agents. That's one of the really key things is that, we had agents that we were building inside of our own company for coaching offers, et cetera. I also work with a lot of people who have AI automation agencies, and I also help people in our community build bots all the time. And really, one of the biggest limiters that you're going to find is not in building the logic and the architecture, right? So the templates, you can go and download a million different end-to-end templates and workflows and things like that. The key to make those work is the quality of the output, especially when it comes to something like marketing or copy where a human is judging it on the other side. There are some barriers. It's not just logistics, like I'm sending an email to Susan in HR to communicate a point. It's like, no, I need to be persuasive, emotional, tell a story, do things in the right structure. So the output, the quality of the output often becomes the limiting factor. Okay. And when you master the skill of building bots, you're basically able to create little nodes and little pieces in your agent workflows that can do things better or as good as some of the best copywriters, marketers, insert whatever skill set you want. That's why this skill is so, so, so important. I'll just show you a few examples. I'm not going to belabor all of this. You can pause the video and watch it. These are just wins that we've gotten from people in our community. Writing 36 ads that were each 700 words long in 2 hours, right? Smiling ear to ear. The client emails I wrote were like so good. I halved my CPA. This guy saying Mario Bot is going to buy me a car. People talking about their clients, people getting flown out to Mexico. Here's another little page here. This person cut their CAC from $2,200 to $62 on average, making multiple six figures per month. This is Jason Fladlin, Webinar King saying this is the best copy I've seen an AI write. Here's somebody here who used the VSL bot that I just showed you. It's converting 20% better than my control. And that was already a pretty big offer. This person got 38 million organic Facebook views with something that wasn't even optimized to do that. Terry here, she was able to sell 12 of these pendants at $200 each. I don't even know what this one is. Here's someone who sold the bots themselves. Here's someone else down here who's selling, I think they're for 15K. Anyways, the point is, I'm not going to belabor it. There's stacks and stacks of these that I could add on here. The point is, building these bots right now is very lucrative. Okay. Let me explain why. I'm going to go through the process of how, but it's really important for you to understand the why. So one is, if we look at the innovation adoption curve, when it comes to AI, there's some really, really technical stuff out there, right? Stuff of what building, orchestrating agents and everything like that. And I do think if you want to be relevant in the years to come, it's really important to stay aware of that, because this is moving so fast, faster than any technological boom probably ever. However, there is a difference between where the technology is at and what people are accustomed to or exposed to. Right. So even if prompts or bots or stuff like that seems kind of outdated for a lot of people, and maybe you watching this is your first time really thinking or hearing about it, it's still very brand new. So there still is a market. I don't know how long that market lasts. I just know that it's here right now, and you can use this to sell services with AI, a lot of different things. I'll walk you through a couple of different paths that you can do, but this is about looking at the adoption curve. And I would say probably bots and prompts is like here in the early majority, right? It's not early adopters or innovators. We're past that stage for sure, but it's getting to the point where it's serving a lot of people. And so I think that's a great place to be in when you're trying to bring something to market. Okay, so I think it's a really powerful skill to learn. The other point is, like I said, there's a lot of different things that you can do in AI. So prompts was probably the most basic thing, right? When ChatGPT came out, people were talking about prompt engineering. People were getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for prompt engineering. Then we moved into workflows, which are like, pretty simple input output. Then we moved into agents, which are able to do some of their own reasoning and make intelligence decisions. And now I believe the last paradigm, there may be a paradigm beyond it, but I believe the last paradigm that we're going into is the operating system ecosystem paradigm, where instead of just building specific agents or workflows, you're really orchestrating and creating entire organizations that are hierarchically nested and that have different components and different prompts and things like that. Okay, we don't need to go too deep into that. We can do videos on that later. My point is, no matter what you're doing in these processes, the nodes that you have, right? If you're building an agent to end-to-end or anything else like that, the nodes that you have often boil down to bots or prompts, right? So having, prompt that's going to go and find the research to write the email, that's prompting, right? The one that's going to write the email, that's also prompting. The one that's going to communicate that to the AI, agent CMO, that's also prompting. And the programming that you give to the AI CMO is also prompting. Okay. And it's a mixture, of course, of the data that you give it and how you set that all up. But at the end of the day, the prompting and just the reps that you get from building these bots and writing these prompts is going to make you so much better at building out any of these other things, right? So regardless of how ambitious you are, if you just want to make a few extra $1,000 selling these services, which by the way, I can't promise you'll be able to do that. I'm just talking about what people in our community have been able to do. If you want to do that, that's amazing. And if you want to go to like super duper land and, completely clone your business in your mind, it's really important to know this skill. So that's why I call it probably the most important, if not the most lucrative skill that you can know. And it is relatively simple to learn. Okay. And I bring this up just because, you can go look, like there's a lot of people talking about prompt engineering is dead, et cetera, et cetera. And I kind of agree. I think prompt engineering could definitely be overhyped. At the end of the day, it's just clear communication and giving it the information that it needs. However, it is still a skill set, mastering that communication, knowing how to structure these things to get the best outputs. It's really, really important. And so when you're building your AI brain, your agents or your workflows, all of these little nodes are almost like the neurons in the brain. And those are made up of little prompts. Okay. So that's my reason why it's really important to learn these skills. And just to give you a quick sense, again, I will belabor this. These three images here are part of what I call the AI money matrix or monetization matrix, which is basically just a tool for you to think about, okay, AI is cool. I can make, pictures of dogs playing banjos and cool spec projects. How do I actually make money with this right now in 2025? Not talking about the future. What you can do is you can ask yourself, where are you at right now in this quadrant? Okay. Are you someone who has more time, in which case you're to the left? This way? Or are you someone who has more resources, in which case you're the other way? And are you someone who has beginner skills or someone who has more skills? Those are kind of the two things that you want to look at, right? So if you have time and not a lot of skills, this is, the starting place. If you have time and experience, what you want to do is scale that experience. If you are in quadrant 2A, we have resources like capital and audience, then you probably want to create products that you can then monetize. And if you're in quadrant 2B where you already have something working, then you want to focus on optimizing using AI, right? So those are the different quadrants that you have. It doesn't determine exactly what you want to do, but it helps you know your starting place to know what's the best way to make money and the quickest, most direct path, we'll say. Then when it comes down to actually what you can do, you can sell a service done with AI. You can sell an asset made by AI. So this would be, for example, an email copywriting service. That's something that you can do. With people in our community doing that. Selling an asset made by AI is making a buyer report and selling that. We have people doing that. Selling the AI tool itself would be building a bot, like I'm going to show you how to do in just a moment, and then selling that bot. And then path number 4 would be scaling your processes, which is using bots and creating workflows and agents and systems, either inside your automations or just inside your workflows and SOPs for your businesses to streamline your operations, cut the personnel that you need, and be able to do like better volume, higher volume, do it faster and get better quality. And so we have, agencies, for instance, who are able to, I think he said he was able to cut like $15,000 roles. That's what he's paying for copywriters. He was able to cut those roles and then also able to increase his speed. I'm not going to quote, but by a significant amount. Okay, so those are all the different paths that you can go on. And then the last thing you want to keep in mind is what is your natural personality type? You can just go ahead and read these. Are you more of a builder, producer, where you get motivated by creating, like building something? Are you more of an innovator, creator, in which case you're motivated by like you want to explore and push the boundaries of what's possible? Are you more of a merchant and trader and you really get a rush on buy low and sell high? Or are you more of an organizer, accumulator, more of an operational mindset, etc.? Okay. Again, none of these lock you in, but when you combine all 3 of these together, the path that you do, your starting place, as well as your natural personality, it's going to give you a lot more clarity on what's the quickest, easiest route for you to use AI to start monetizing it. And again, I think this skill is relevant for any of these skills that you have. This skill is super, super relevant. So let me not go and stop anymore. Let me go through the high level of how you can build these bots inside your own business. So there's 2 ways to do it: is prompt engineering, of course, which we talked about, and or fine tuning. I'll do another video probably later on how you can fine tune, but there's tons of video examples online. If you want to get really, really good outputs, it's really important to create well-structured, good prompts. And many of the prompts and the bots that we have, some of these are like 20 pages long, the prompts. Some of them are 50, all the way up to 100. And we have some people in our community who have like 200 pages worth of prompts that are information inside of their prompt. Some people think it's overkill, but that's why we have really, really good quality and why our bots are able to produce really great stuff, right? I mean, just think about it. When you go and sit down and write an email or anything, think about all the experience and information that you need to be able to write a good email. Okay. And so out of the box ChatGPT or out of the box Claude or any of these models that are out of the box are missing a lot of the specific knowledge that comes when it comes to copywriting or marketing, whatever it is you're trying to automate. So you just need to put that in the prompt, and it's okay if it's long because the context windows have gotten so big. So that's our experience. I found the best results if I want to get to 100% indistinguishable from AI. You literally cannot tell. It's a mixture of fine tuning with some good prompt engineering. Okay, but we're going to focus on the prompt engineering because I think in probably 85–90% of the cases, it's more than enough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this really, really basic template. Now, this template is specifically for voice cloning. Okay, so this is like, what do you do if you want to write an email in your own voice? Okay, this is the template that I would use. It's the template that we use for our own bots, and it's the template that we show everyone else. This is one type of bot. There are technically 4 types of different bots that you can build. This is one of them, and I believe it's the best because it's the most versatile. And once you learn how to do this one, it'll give you the intuition to how to build everything else, okay? So these are the instructions. There's many ways to do it. This is how we do it. First is we use po.com. Then we go and make a custom bot. We put everything into the prompt space. So I can actually show you what that would look like. So if you come in here, this is Po, come and create. This is $20 a month. I think it's worthwhile. People are going to ask me why. The reason why is because you can access all of these models in one place. You can also control the temperature. It's not the prettiest user interface. I just think it's the best. And you can use, models like Sonnet and everything else. They're better than the custom GPTs in my experience. Okay, pretty much just trust me on this one is what I would say. So we go to create. What you can do is you can go to the prompt bot. You go and you put the name of your bot, the description of your bot. You come in here. You can choose the model that you want. I use Sonnet 4. You can use Opus if it's a thinking process, but if it's a writing bot, I typically like Sonnet a little bit better. Then you put your whole prompt in here. Even if it's 100 pages, you pop that in there. For the knowledge base, you can use it or not use it. In my experience, I like to put everything in the prompt. I find that that's better, especially for writing ones. You come down here to advanced. You could change the custom temperature. I like to move this. If it's a writing bot, I like to move it around the 7 to 8 range. That's kind of the sweet spot that I had. You can choose whether it's publicly accessible or not. And then you can obviously change the image, etc., etc. So that's what I do to build it. There's a lot more details inside of it, but that's sort of the setup for that process. I'm going to change this to 4. And then the template you use is you want to use something like an identity statement. Then you can go into the purpose. Then you'll go into the examples. These right here are probably the 2 most important things that you put inside of your bot by far. So you need high quality examples, not examples that were made by AI, not examples that are like half good enough. Like really, like most of your work is just in collecting good examples. In fact, literally today we had like an hour and a half call reviewing other people's bots and helping them make them a lot better. And the biggest feedback we gave was just you need better quality examples. And the other feedback we gave was focus on one bot at a time, right? If you're trying to build a social media writing bot, you can try to do it all in one bot. It's not going to turn out that well in my experience. Much, much better to just focus on one bot that does LinkedIn, one that does YouTube posts, one that does YouTube descriptions. So one thing at a time. Just like for you, when you go into email writing mode, that's one mode you go into versus teaching mode, that's another mode. So the bots are kind of the same thing. They kind of go into specified modes and you can get better, higher quality examples. The other thing is you want to put in your knowledge bank. So when it comes to a voice cloning one, typically you're going to want to put in voice, personality, point of view, et cetera, et cetera. Then you can put in things like modules. These are like prepackaged bits of information that you can use. So for example, if you're familiar with our copy block system, I would just put in a block of information about copy blocks. Now the bot understands copy blocks and can use them. And you can say, hey, add more blocks, make the block stronger, and it will actually make the copy a lot better. Okay. And then you can do things like rhetorical frames, which are basically lists of hooks, et cetera, et cetera. And then guidelines based on what it's doing that you like and what it's doing that you don't like. You can kind of put that at the end there. And that's the overall structure. These 2 parts are the most important part. When it comes to the knowledge, like investing in building out really good frameworks for whatever it is you're talking about. If it's LinkedIn, it's like, what is the structure? What are different types of structures? What are the hooks like? The more that you thought you put into this and the examples that match it, the better your output is going to be. It's not really rocket science. Here's kind of an example of what the identity would look like, what the purpose would look like, how you introduce the examples. I like to separate everything important using hash marks. You can also use quotations. That just helps the AI to figure out where one thing begins and the other thing ends. Makes it a little bit cleaner. When it comes to the knowledge for custom voice bots, I typically focus on these. The voice, which is how you sound. Personality, which is, the persona, and then the point of view. So for example, for voice, this is things like language, tone, the relationship you have to the audience. For personality, this is what is the character archetype you're embodying? What's the story you're in? What's the world that you're in? For point of view, these are macro beliefs about your market, vertical beliefs, and then micro beliefs. So actually, let me correct myself. Macro beliefs are basically big beliefs you have about life, God, education, science, medicine. Vertical beliefs are specific beliefs that you have about your market. So for my market, copywriting, marketing, what do I think about hooks? What do I think about headlines? Do I believe in hand copying sales letters, et cetera, et cetera? And then micro beliefs are little connecting points. Do you like kale? Do you like peanut butter? Things around food, music, stuff that adds a little bit of texture and personality. That's what you would put in there. And then for modules, we add things like anti-AI guidelines, a copy chiefing one to make copy chiefing easy, insight vectors, rhetorical frames, and copy blocks. And then for guidelines, you may say things like writing 3rd grade level, make it emotional, don't say this, do say this. So this is the template that you would follow. The length will matter a little bit different, but just so it's 100% crystal clear, it would be like you are a direct response writer. Your goal is to X. Here are examples to follow. Here's what makes an email good. And then you go into modules. So here are copy blocks, hooks, insights, etc. Specific formatting. If you want to add that, I like to put it kind of down here. And then you go into guidelines. Okay. Again, super, super, super simple. It goes way, way, way deep. In fact, inside of Genesis, the main copywriting program that you have, which you can always email me about, I'll put that on here. We have a full kind of 4-day one that goes super in depth. And we have a bot that will help you to write the bot, which is really, really amazing. A lot of our members have been using that. You literally just say, this is what I'm trying to achieve. And it will write everything for you. It'll organize it. It'll tell you what to do, et cetera, et cetera. The one thing it won't do is give you the examples and the knowledge. This stuff is so, 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 so important. Okay, so that's what I would add in there. If you want to get this document, like there's a sign up link down below. When you do sign up, I'll send you this, which is all my best copy and marketing trainings from the videos that I've done, lists of things. You can play around with one of the bots in here, like the paradoxical questions bot. You get access to the slides, and then you'll get access to this template as well. So that'll all be on there. If you want to access it, just download it below. Again, these are emails for myself and my business partner, and you can, check that out on there. But what I want to do is show you, here's a bot that will write like my business partner, who's kind of like a aggressive New Yorker. So you could say, write me an email selling socks. Okay. Obviously, the more information you give it, the better. This is pretty good AI, right? I'm about to say something's gonna blow your mind. Ready? Your socks suck. I know. You're probably thinking, Mario, they're just socks. Who gives a shit? That's the problem. Nobody gives enough of a shit about their socks. It's causing all kinds of problems you don't even realize, like those blisters. That's a pretty damn good email. Give me idea for 30-day sequence selling socks before Father's Day. Okay, you can map out the whole thing, and then you could say, write it, and there you go. Okay, so we have people using these in like every niche imaginable, golf niche, all that stuff. Okay, really, really powerful. I'll show you another bot on here. Actually, don't even know what this bot is. You see, what are you? All right, so this is the universal email bot. So what's cool about this is, let's say, for example, you want to make emails in your own voice and you have some samples to start with. So what this will do is you could say, write me an email about socks in this voice. So this is a voice cloning one. So these are examples of emails that I've written. And what you could do is you could just post an example. So, your favorite copywriter, anyone who you like, and it will match the tone and voice of it and write emails about it. Yo, sock stopping is bullshit, in my humble opinion, at least. And that's because how most people do it. Most people buying socks is subjective exercise, literally no rhyme reason. They just grab what they like. And I think you need a healthy dose of I don't know. So it's pretty good. It's matching the example too much, so I'm going to come up with a different one. Okay, so it's matching the style and tone of voice of the way that I like to write and think, and that's one of the bots that we have. So those are just examples. We have like 40, 50 plus different bots that we're doing and adding new ones all the time. But I wanted to give you this idea. Like if you haven't built a bot inside of Poe to automate a process in your own life or to build it for somebody else, give it a try, especially right now. I believe it's just an amazing, amazing skill. Even if you're building agents or anything else, it's just one of the most powerful skills that you could possibly have. So that's all I have for this video. Let me know in the comments below what else you want to see and what your thoughts are on this one. Thank you.